So I just watched Big Tim UPA film 1949. It was a advertising film done for Milk and Bearing Company, and it was the most entertaining advertisement I've seen in my life. So how can I use this film as an opportunity to begin learning about how I can manipulate people? Well, it is propaganda. You should watch it. Big Tim, like exactly, Big Tim, 1949 or 1947. At some level, that's in the, like, we say this is mid-century design. Um, there's a huge cost to really bad advertising, and this advertisement was grounded in a type of, like, it was grounded, what would I be wrong to call it social realism? Well, no, well, yeah, because that's a movement, that's an approach. This was grounded in a time and place. It was limited by the technological development of the period, which gave it its characteristic identity. Um, the villain was this person named Kid Friction, which is an excellent nickname. The the plot of the promotional film revolved around a caboose, no, a hauler, like the front train, named Tim, who was modern compared to steel on steel rails. Tim was milk and bearings. And the premise was that if you got onto these bearings and then your entire cargo was on those bearings, it was more economical. And you watched it fleshed out. It was entertaining. It's more entertaining than cinema coming out of Hollywood. And I want to adopt a pessimistic outlook on the world because it's the only way I can make money. If I have this like really positive worldview, essentially I'm like, yeah, being stepped on isn't the worst possible thing because I still have X, Y, and Z to look forward to, which is like waking up with limbs. So the amount of labor, the type of labor necessary. Okay, I'm pretty tired, so we're just gonna like chill out. The type of labor to do something like Big Tim is completely lost. It was all hand-done animation, like cell-based, hand-done frame by frame. If I'm not mistaken, that's what it's called, cell-based. The voice acting was like that transatlantic accent, like style, where it's like it was clearly there was a clear class element to it, but we've kind of lost that in North America. When Floyd Mayweather buys properties and multiple properties on Manhattan Island but can't read, we've lost that. Um, I would love to be sold clothing, or I'd love to be sold everything in this style because it was gentlemanly. That's the world I want to live in, where it's like, like if Palantir was gentlemanly, I would, and not trying to kill me, I would totally be on board with Palantir. Um, if Google just wasn't trying to kill me, they were trying to kill colored people, I guess. Not stateside. I don't care. But everything's become classless. But okay, I'm not willing to like actually argue this stuff. It's a little bit like I think about reading as like this like liberating tool to promote democracy, but who cares? Like no one cares. Um, what if reading is like an opportunity for me to enforce classism on other people? Analyzing this film is important because it was right at a moment in American industrialized society where manufactured obsolescence was inventing itself but not present. Um, it's like when I look at the world, this is how you know essentially at some level mental illness is socially constructed. I cannot I cannot rip from myself. I cannot experience deracination on the issue that quality is not important. I want localized, unionized, pension-laid manufacturing to create whatever world. Well, this is a mid-century design, so the mid-century world where manufactured obsolescence isn't present. Like on a postman's budget, you could raise 2 kids, have a stay-at-home wife, and then pay your mortgage and vacation each month or each year. That's the world of this. This is the imaginary world that I want to live in. And I want to fight for it, that world, but oof, look at this. Oh my God, this shirt. Oh my God. Why do I even own this shirt? Okay, just wait. This is like just this is just like creativity unhinged, my type of creativity unhinged. I just don't, like if I'm gonna go function in a world where I don't get to live in a meritocracy, I don't get to live in the world where Big Ben is advertising to me, but I have to deal with bullshit advertisements in the form of like NBA shout outs or like hockey sports drinks, like the particular, just the modern advertising. I want to do demented, demonic things. Um, I want to give up on. This is an interesting point. So, the American dream was actually a joke. Very cathartic to know. It was never aspirational. It was never conceived. It was never achievable. And so, when we say American dream, it's not that it is aspirational. It's actually that um, it's fictional. It's completely fictitious. But and that's just like American Cycle. Like male nerds like see it as aspirational, and like admittedly Charles Bateman, whatever the actor's name is incredibly handsome and has incredible presence on camera. But like the critical theory tells you that like a criticism of the capitalist machine was actually the subject, the point of the work. Um, and it just shows you how we've just lost the plot. We've lost the plot so much that I'm dangling mid-century designed anti-plastic in a period where plastic was being invented, toy vehicles as representations of the future of architecture, because the idea that architecture can be community-based is now lost on us. And so now you have to interact with architecture, but not at an intellectual level because that's no longer possible. You have to sum it up into literal representations of progress, like propulsion. Not, and it's that we've lost the deeper meaning of architecture amongst the public because you have to literally show them representations of propulsion as opposed to like have them think about it for themselves. What's important about these toys is that they're very simple, so they require a child to enforce their imagination onto the real world, or to have their imagination end up in their domain and not be something that's utilized only for the sake of propaganda and advertising. And then this comes back to what I was saying, which is like advertising can be meaningful, but actually it's only being used to bait us into I'm not even going to pretend that's a word, into a docile nature. This video is more a type of artwork as a form of like exploratory, as a within the process, and then this is categorized as like rather exploratory, because there's definitely meaning behind me dangling what are rather phallic objects, especially with the tailpipes near my face, and then NASA, Nazis, eugenics, idealism, the idealist or ideal unionized localized manufacturing of these objects. It's so late. It must be like midnight. So I give myself a huge pass. See you.